Most people never question the 401k. It's automatic, framed as responsible. For many, it's the beginning and the end of retirement planning. But for high-income entrepreneurs, the 401k isn't central. In fact, it often doesn't even make the shortlist. Not because it's flawed, but because it was never built for this tier of capital. It's a mass-market product operating in a bespoke wealth world. In 2025, the IRS cap for employee 401k contributions is $23,000. Add in the employer match, and the total annual limit reaches $69,000. That's reasonable for those earning in the low six figures. But for entrepreneurs bringing in $1.5 million or more, it barely registers. It's less than 5% of pre-tax income. A footnote, not a strategy. Then there's the issue of liquidity. 401ks are locked. Early withdrawals come with penalties. Loans are limited and scrutinized. The ability to pivot, to seize time-sensitive opportunities, or to reallocate based on conviction, none of that exists. You've handed flexibility over to the tax code. Next comes tax timing. The basic premise of a 401k is to defer taxes today and pay them later when your income is presumably lower. But what if later means higher income? Higher rates, or both? Many entrepreneurs find themselves wealthier in retirement than during their working years. At that point, required minimum distributions become a liability. The tax deferral simply delays the cost until it's more expensive. Then there's legacy. The 401k doesn't receive a step up in basis. Your heirs pay full ordinary income tax. Assets you grew over decades pass through inefficiently, taxed, exposed, and outside of any strategic estate plan. This isn't financial advice, it's structural observation. So what do the wealthiest entrepreneurs do instead? They use tools built for their position on the board, starting with defined benefit and cash balance plans. These aren't theoretical upgrades, they're qualified plans but structured with intent. Unlike the 401k, which caps you at $69,000 per year, these plans allow contributions of over $265,000 annually, depending on age, structure, and income profile. That's nearly 4 times more than a standard plan. And because they're funded by the business, they reduce taxable operating income while allowing significant wealth to grow in a tax-deferred wrapper. It's not about retirement in the traditional sense, it's about strategic compression of tax exposure across high-income years. Then there's private placement life insurance, PPLI. It's not a policy in the way most people think of insurance. It's a framework. One where capital is allocated into custom portfolios, hedge funds, private credit, real estate, and grows tax-free inside the policy. Structured correctly, distributions can also be accessed tax-free, and the death benefit passes without estate tax if held in trust. These policies aren't available off the shelf. Minimum premiums often exceed $1 million annually. But for those with generational scale, the benefits are structural, not speculative. Non-qualified deferred compensation is another tool. It's used by executives, but adaptable to entrepreneurial entities, especially in C Corp or partnership structures. It allows you to defer compensation beyond the calendar year, beyond the traditional caps, and structure payout on your own terms. There are no IRS-imposed contribution limits, no forced distributions, and no early withdrawal penalties. It's not automatic. It requires governance, legal structuring, and discipline. But in return, it creates a parallel income stream, a shadow balance sheet that doesn't show up in your AGI until you're ready. And finally, the most foundational approach: direct investment through trusts and holding companies. This isn't retirement planning by name, but it achieves the same outcome with more control and less friction. Capital is invested through irrevocable trusts, family LLCs, and layered entities. No contribution caps, no public disclosures, no age restrictions, just structured autonomy. According to industry data, Over 80% of families with $10 million or more in net worth use trust-based structures to manage and transfer assets. Not because it's trendy, but because the default system wasn't built for them. If you're still using the same tools you used before your first million, it might be time to rethink your framework. Because the wealthy skip the 401k not because it's broken, but because it's insufficient. They're using cash balance plans to move hundreds of thousands off the table each year. They're using PPLI to grow capital tax-free while shielding their estate. They're deferring compensation without caps or penalties. And they're investing through trusts, not accounts, so that their wealth moves with purpose, not friction. Most people never encounter these tools, not because they're secret, but because they're not offered. The system isn't hiding them. It's just not built to present them unless you already know to ask. This video isn't investment advice. It's an outline of how sophisticated entrepreneurs and family offices structure their wealth. It's not about beating the market, it's about owning the system you operate within. Because smart, modern wealth doesn't follow default settings. It's engineered layer by layer, decision by decision, for control, not just return. Smart, modern wealth knows there's more to the story. You just learned about cash balance plans. But here's what else these families do. They skip the stock market entirely. They're buying private deals your advisor can't even touch. We'll show you exactly what they're buying instead. Watch now.